The thing about tiny hands, you see, is that even though they're small, they can make a difference. Listen to the story called With Their Tiny Hands. Nicholas woke to huffing and puffing and grunting and groaning and even some moaning. He quickly got out of bed and followed those horrifyingly enticing sounds into the dining room, where he found his mother pushing their piano. "Why are you moving the piano?" he asked. "In the dining room, the piano merely takes up space," she said. "No one uses it in the family room. I'm sure it will come in handy." "But, Mommy, that's where Daddy puts his keys and letters, and that's where I put my drawings, and that's where Catherine puts her toys." "It is handy." "Pianos are for making music," said Mother very quietly, and continued to push. "But, Mommy, I don't play the piano," continued Nicholas, trying to understand. "That's okay. I'm sure it will come in handy. Can I help?" "Yes, you may. On the count of 3. Push. 1, 2, 3, and with their tiny hands they pushed. And the grunting and groaning began, which woke Father, who came downstairs and asked, "Why are you moving the piano?" "I think it will look pretty in the living room," explained Mother. "But none of us plays the piano, and it will make a big scratch on the floor." "Not that big," she answered in her softest voice. "Besides, it'll come in handy, I'm sure." "Do as you like," replied Father as he turned around and headed back to bed. But Mother refused to be discouraged, and her pushing resumed. So did Nicholas's. 1, 2, 3, push, push, push! Mother and Nicholas hollered in between moans and groans, which woke up Catherine, who stumbled into the living room and, without saying a word, placed herself behind the piano and with her tiny hands began to push. 1, 2, 3, push, push, push! growled the 3 of them between moans, and the piano began to move. With every grunt and groan and huff and puff and moan, it moved. It moved all the way to the living room wall, between the couch and the TV, next to the window facing east, where all the sunlight was. Nicholas and Catherine and Mother stopped and exhaled. They took a few steps back and looked. "It is beautiful," said Nicholas. "It is," said Mother. "Hi," said Catherine, using one of the few words she knew. Father came back downstairs, wondering at the sudden quiet in the house. "There's a scratch on the floor. Not just any scratch, but a huge scratch. I told you there would be a scratch on the floor. Now, how will we get rid of the scratch on the floor?" "Don't you think the piano looks beautiful in the living room?" asked Nicholas in the politest voice he could muster. "Don't you think the sun shines ever so brilliantly on it?" asked Mother in her gentlest voice. "Hi," said Catherine in her most convincing voice. "But none of us plays the piano," hollered Father in his most exasperated voice. "I do," said Nicholas as he walked over to the piano and started touching the keys. "Hi," said Catherine as she followed him. "I love to listen," said Mother as she looked at them adoringly. "But it's not even tuned," mumbled Father as he too walked over to the piano and hit some notes. Mother watched as Nicholas and Catherine and Father whacked and smacked and prodded and whopped the keys and brought the piano back to life. After years of serving as a storage spot for keys and drawings and toys, the piano was doing what it was meant to do. It was making music. That same day, Father bought a music book and called the piano tuner and forgot all about the scratch on the floor. In fact, no one ever mentioned it again except when Nicholas's friend Tyrell came to visit. "Wow! What a huge scratch!" he exclaimed, pointing downwards. "We play the piano," was Nicholas's only explanation. Poor Tyrrell was too confused to probe any further. It seemed Father and Nicholas and Catherine never stopped playing the piano. Mother had to sometimes tell them 3 or 4 times that dinner was ready. "Do I play well, Mommy?" Nicholas asked her one day as she stood there watching him. "You are truly talented, my love. Bringing the piano into the family room was a good idea, Mommy." "I was sure it would come in handy," she whispered as she turned toward her kitchen, the music following her.